Yo metalheads, today is day 141 of the video challenge, and this is the origin of the individual immortal rose. This video is also going to take a little longer than the typical minute and a half, and for good reason. It needs to. I say that all it takes is one person to change your life. Maybe just a little bit or maybe a lot, and this is very true. Someone who is meant to be in your life for one reason or another on our cosmic journey, whether it's to teach you a lesson or to lift you up so you can see beyond what's directly in front of you. Bob Dunback was one of those men. Someone who had no problems teaching a frantic punk the ropes of life, and he had the patience of a saint. I can't even begin to describe all the things I learned just from being around him. We worked at 4 different places together over the years. When you spend that much time working with someone, they become your family. First at Cinram, where we worked 4x4 shifts. They have since been sold to Technicolor and then closed. I usually ate up as much overtime as I could, and I always looked forward to working with him on the opposite shifts. There, I learned tons about the metal plating process. He was like the really cool uncle or older brother that you could admire without even trying. Always calm and saying the right words when you needed to hear them the most. I was in my early 20s trying to figure out life, and it seemed like he already had. Then we worked together at the Blue Bastard part-time. There were no full-time positions available, and as Bob would say, it's his beer money. It was true since they paid piss. Learned all about motors, gearboxes, and conveyors from him there. Some patience and some stick welding. I'm pretty terrible at it. When Cinram dipped on its employees, we ended up full-time at BAE on the weekend shift, which was a blast. We had the best boss and the best engineer on shift. I learned a ton about mechanical, electrical, and fabrication just by going to work. We had a special project tasked to us which involved automating a sandblasting unit. It was definitely a challenge since they needed it by yesterday. Not a problem. We did what we could when we could, and it turned out successful. The unit worked better than the original, and it was qualified to run without any changes on our end. BAE ended up closing its plant, and Bob ended up at Technicolor on second shift. He was there before I joined up. We did a whole lot more fabricating, and I even got to get some welding in. To be honest, I was terrible at it. I'm only marginally better now, but only if you're grading on a curve. We got to fabricate some cool stuff there too. On November 11th, 2016, he passed away one night after work. It really messed me up. I had some huge shoes to fill, and I dreaded going to work or even attempt it. I would often think about what he would do in my situation, the way he reacted when things were chaos, and the words that he would use would always seem so carefully chosen. The fact was they weren't. It was just the way he was. I couldn't even tell you how many stories I've heard about Lisa, Sarah, and his cats over the years. One thing was for sure, he had old-school morals and was a family man. Something I respected from the first day I met him. He loved his friends and family more than anything in this world. Sometimes when you look back on the reasons why things happened the way they did from where you're standing, it's easy to see how far you've come. Not just because of you, but because of the others that left a lasting impression. Never underestimate your mark on the world. After I made the first 3 roses for my wife, I had an idea. A mission even. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. It was something that I needed to or was compelled to do. I reached out to his daughter, Sarah, and asked her if there were any special occasions coming up that would be important for her mom and dad. She said yeah, actually. Their anniversary is coming up the beginning of April. The timing was perfect. The first individual rose was made with what seemed a purpose greater than myself. I felt like I was simply the messenger. I made the rose at Technicolor, which was one of the jobs we worked together, with washers that I bought at the Blue Bastard, which was another job we worked together, and with the welder he used and with the skill set he taught me. I had a hard time finding a box for it, and then I gave the rose to Sarah to give to her mother. I didn't want to be there for the reaction as it wasn't for me. I didn't do it for recognition or any of those other reasons. I did it for Bob. It was the least I could do for a friend that I respected so much. I was told that he considered me a good friend, and honestly, that went both ways. I never had an ill word or feeling towards the man, and coming from me is extremely rare since I'm the one that thinks everyone can always do better. He couldn't. He was the best. Once Lisa received her rose, she reached out to me and said it was one of the most thoughtful and meaningful gifts she's ever received and wanted to buy one for Sarah. She told me I should sell them. I mulled it over and was always thinking I was too busy. I made another for her daughter and was not interested in being paid for it. She ended up sneaking a gift card inside a thank you card as a slick way of making it happen. Lisa and my wife were both right. I started Metal Relic's Etsy shop at the end of April in 2017, and bought the domain metalrelic.com on May 19, 2017. It's been a trip since I've literally made thousands of roses since. There is a certain satisfaction I feel knowing that most of the roses that I make are being given to others as gifts. It helps me feel like I'm making some kind of mark on the world myself. Even if it's for that moment when someone hands the rose to someone else and their minds are blown or overcome with joy. There is happiness involved. I would never be able to touch so many lives and share so much happiness working my life away in a warehouse for shareholders. So take this moment and think about the people that have changed your life for the better. Be thankful for them, and be sure to pay that positivity forward with true meaning and a heartfelt passion. I was fortunate enough to have some amazing mentors, and my way of paying it forward and teaching others is by making these videos. Let's face it, if my designs can make others happy even when they are not made by my own hands, I consider that a win. We are still about 200 away from the 3,500 TikTok follower milestone, and the next rose giveaway. Check us out on our other social media channels by going to linktree.com/metalrelic. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching, and I appreciate you.